A message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep, sticking its home. I need a crib
Like I'm Gatsby.
I
Need
need it in
it.
hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do, and they can't compete, and I got nothing to lose. You see, they told me I'm the one that's gonna benefit. Never been a threat.
Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum. I'm your host, Nick Deus. At Nick Deus 10 as you can find me. At Veterans Minimum as we can find all things VM, the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. It's been a while, but Josh Williams in the building. It's good.
Yeah, man, I was catching strays on the way in. You know what I'm saying? I heard you. You know, not Valdez Scantley. Kadarius Toney's not a number one. All these things.
You guys are going to hear that at the end of the episode when Kenny joins us. It was that segment as Josh was walking in because, once again, Josh don't listen.
I listen. I took the exact same way.
Yeah, and you ran into traffic again.
Yeah, I mean, I can't listen. I can't stop these people from being horrible drivers in Vegas. And look, listen, these Vegas lights take 5 minutes. So if you're like,
if
you're on the wrong side of two lights, that's 10 minutes gone. Ain't nothing you could do. I was in position. I was like, yeah, I'm at the last light. And it was green as I was texting you. I got all the way. I was the second car because I would have taken it.
Yeah.
I was
If
the
you
second-
go, I go.
Oh, yeah.
How many times are you behind the wheel and you're like, yo, if you go, I go?
Shoot. Please,
then-
please take the light. Take the light.
Take the light. Yeah.
Hey, don't take the light out here.
Yo, how was your Thanksgiving? I haven't seen you since.
Thanksgiving was good, man. I worked, but it was solid. We do Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is probably the biggest holiday in my family. After everybody got older, Christmas wasn't as big. Thanksgiving became mom's holiday, and so I was the only son this year. Both of my brothers didn't make it, and mom was supervising the cooking. She didn't do the cooking, a lot of it. So the yams and the mac and cheese.
Gotta love the yams.
I was
Gotta love the yams.
I was frustrated,
Yeah.
but it was good. Fam, how about yours? You went home.
It was cool, man. I talked about it last week. It was cool to go back home. The moment I landed, cannot wait to come back. I'm talking about I'm still in the airport. I just love it out here, bro.
You really do like it.
Yeah. And
What do you love about it? Like, for real? Because dating is terrible.
it is pretty whack.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Dating is terrible.
I've gotten off the apps too, bro. I don't do that.
There's not much to do. Once you've done it. No, okay. I'll look at the lens. It's
Guy's
fine.
hammered. He's
Listen,
hammered. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
bro,
happy hour.
No, this is called 14 years, baby. This is called seasons and seasons of watching them come and go. I'm at the end of my line at Seinfeld. You're still season 1 and 2. You're good. It's fun. It's no problem.
Look, man, I get to come here often, right?
Yeah.
A lot. I shouldn't say often. I'm here 5-6 days a week. Everyone in the studio is dope. I get to record here. I get
That's
excited when I pull up. Get to chill with Cam and Mace and work on their show. The dudes I do jiu-jitsu with are my best friends out here. I chill with them often. More now lately out of the gym too. And then when I'm at the gym, I love going there. So dude,
Your balance is very
yeah, man. And I'm in a routine. I'm a creature of habit. I like doing the same shit over and over again. And I have no problem with it. I enjoy it. My routine is my routine. I wake up at 9. I'm at the gym at 10 to 1-ish, and I don't want to come off as I'm working out for 3 hours. Nah, I'm sitting around, I'm goofing around, but I get my lift in, I do my jiu-jitsu, I come home, I take a shower, I eat, and then I come here.
Yeah.
And that's my Monday through Friday, bro. And then it's just, it's for me, it's still new.
Yeah.
It's still new. The people are sick. I love being around the people that I'm with on a daily basis. So of course I get excited. And there's no knock to my friends and my family back home, but this is where life is now, bro. It's dope. I'm constantly busy. It's everything I wanted. So I'd feel like a hypocrite if I didn't feel this way.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I would say this place never holds a candle to New York, ever, on its best night.
In what sense, though?
Shoot. Ever since.
Tell me.
Ever since you have culture, dating.
Culture for sure, yeah.
Vibe.
I think New York City is the most diverse place in the world.
There's no vibes out here. Not really. Like there's never really a time when you're just like, man, this is a really good time. Like I've done it too much. I've popped more bottles than every person on your screen right now in these clubs.
It's only me and you on the screen.
No. Whoever's on the other side, trust me. I've had more than enough Vegas. So it's like once you've done it, dude, I'm almost 40, bro. It is what it is. I'm like, it's like I want more. And it's like Vegas is like, that's all we got. Whereas New York and other major metropolitan cities, they can continue to evolve as you evolve. So it's like, oh, okay, you don't like to do that anymore. Well, I have this for you now. Vegas doesn't really have that. It has stuff for elderly people, stuff for people that are out thotting and plotting. That middle,
Thotting and plotting.
that middle, if you don't have kids, you know what I'm saying? I don't have kids. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. So like that middle is a struggle for Vegas because if you're not trying to do like the Vegas turn up, there's not a lot of things for you in all retrospect. And if it is, it'll be gone in a year. Like it'll be there for a hot minute and it'll be like, it's out again. Just saying.
Yeah.
Take it from a vet, man. Just trust me. Just trust me on this.
And yo, look, that's your perspective. And I'm not saying this wrong, but on the flip side, like, bro, I've gone out like 5 times since I've been here.
Oh, yeah.
And every time I've gone out has been because, like, yo, you got to meet so-and-so.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to invite me, because you know a lot of UFC people, and you're like, yo, bro, you got to come to fucking, I don't know, XS because, like, I'm chilling with so-and-so. Like, that's the only time I've been out.
Yeah.
I came here to make money, bro, and to network and to grow the show. And that's my perspective hasn't changed. And that's it.
It's been
like,
perfect.
Yeah, for that it's been great, man. And
That's
like I'm
good.
constantly looking for like more and more shit. There was a couple people in the studio a couple days ago, and they're like, "Hey, we want to get involved." And I'm like, "All right, what's good? How much we paying?"
Yeah.
I've gotten to that point, and it's crazy because I used to hear people that are now like when I was like in my 20s. Like I'll be 33 in March, right? But it's crazy how like now I'm remembering them telling me that. And now I'm like, yo, it ain't gonna be like that for me. Now I'm all about like, I want to go to places that I love being at. Sounds so cliche and lame.
No.
And then the other thing is like, yo, I'm trying not to work when I'm 40, bro. Like I have that health like set in my mind. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but it's the pursuit of that. Like, yo, I want to fucking March 11th, 2031. I'll be 40 years old. God willing, everything goes according to plan. I want to just call my account and be like, yo, can I retire if I wanted to? And I just want him to tell me, yeah. That's my main goal. I probably won't because I really like what I'm doing. And I mean, shit, 8 years from now, the trajectory we're on, I'm thinking bigger and better stuff. But like, that's like the thing that like drives me.
Yeah.
And for me, hearing the people that when I was younger be like, yo, bro, it's all about like your networking, your health, and make your money, bro. Like everything else will come. Like that was before you were talking about like the dating culture.
Yeah.
It is pretty whack. But also like I find mad people corny like quickly.
Well, you're from New York.
Yeah.
So a lot of the
And look, listen,
I'm
I'm 32 years old. I watch wrestling once a week, right? So like I'm not exactly fucking Mr. Perfect over here.
That doesn't
another
make
wrestling reference there.
Good job. Kurt Hennig.
Yeah.
Is what
Shout out
we
to
can
Mr.
call him.
Perfect. I still spit my gum out and do that thing all the time. So if you're walking by, I might catch you in the hair.
Oh my God.
See that salute.
Oh my.
But yo, like for me, I'm really about like my business, bro.
Yeah.
I'm really about my business, and I feel like more things happen when you are that way.
Yeah. No, listen, Vegas. Look, Vegas was always tarnished for me, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
I came out of here under false pretense. I was supposed to be moving to New York straight out of college, working at the NBA, and my parents were like, "You're 21. You're not ready to live in New York by yourself." So I moved here and I dated strippers. That was life.
They're people too.
Oh yeah. I dated them. I wouldn't have dated them if they weren't. They're not aliens.
Listen, make your money, bro.
I hate you.
Make
Let's get to some sports.
Make your money, bro.
This is gonna take a
we can
turn.
figure out the rest on your own time. All right, let's get to sports because we could have went on and on about this stuff, especially when strippers got named.
Yeah. See.
Over the weekend, a lot of people outraged about the referees once again, as per usual.
Yeah.
In particular, the no pass interference on MVS.
Yeah.
At the end of that game, clearly pass interference. Would you agree?
It's clearly PI.
All right. I know why they didn't throw the flag.
Go ahead. What's your reason?
They knew that he wasn't gonna catch that shit anyway. So they're like, yo, bro, yeah, it's PI, but like he's glad bag. He's trash. It's not gonna work. So it don't matter. Now, if it was Tyreek Hill, if it was Justin Jefferson, Devontae,
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin, shout out to the Commanders, your boy. They're coming down with that. They're throwing the flag. But they're like, it's MVS. We saw him drop it against Philly. He ain't catching it. He don't deserve that superstar foul, that superstar call. He don't deserve it.
Yeah.
So I think they didn't throw the flag because they knew he was going to drop it anyway.
I'd say
I'm being silly, but I'm also being a little serious too. Because if that's Tyreek Hill, if it's a bigger name,
Yeah.
right? It's the same thing. Like, how many times have you watched football over the last couple of years where a call gets called for a Brady and a Mahomes, but it don't for Daniel Jones, it don't for Kirk Cousins?
No.
And you're saying to yourself, like, oh, dude, if it was Brady, they're throwing the flag. Yeah, of course they are, because it's Brady. It's the superstar treatment. Dude, last year there was a crazy call against the Falcons in a Falcons-Bucks regular season game where they called a roughing the passer.
I remember.
And it was like
For Brady, yeah.
And it was like Brady has even said like that was wild.
That was a bad one.
Yeah. But he gets that call.
Yeah.
If they land on Daniel Jones like that, he's probably not getting that call.
He's not getting that call.
So that's why I think they didn't throw a flag on MVS in that game.
I'll say I think they didn't throw the flag simply because, to your point, he's missed a lot of balls. But on top of that, too, they've had some grace at the end of games. And we're starting to get in on it where it's like that. I don't know about that. They've had a lot of Chiefs calls at the end of games to give them that one more possession. Now, they didn't get it versus Philly. You know what I mean? Where Philly ended up, where they ended up being on like 4th and 25 because he got intentional grounding on 3rd down. But like, yeah, that's what I think it was. That simply just because they've had enough.
Are you more impressed with Green Bay or more disappointed in Kansas City for that game?
Okay. I'll say I'm more impressed with Green Bay because they saw their moment and they took it. I'm obviously disappointed in Kansas City because their moment should have never arose. But the fact that Green Bay didn't make mistakes, because they made big plays down the stretch of that game where it's like, oh, okay, here come the Chiefs. And every time I said that to myself, Green Bay would push back and make a play. That pick at the end, I mean, it was a horrible ball, but you know what I'm saying? Like that corner still had to go track it. So
I think that Jordan Love has figured it out. And prior to Thanksgiving, I recorded with Alan, and we were talking about, I looked at the Packers, and I was saying to myself, Josh, I feel like if they could get through this Thanksgiving Chiefs game, Thanksgiving against the Lions, then play the Chiefs, and if they could split, right? Big underdog in both, about a touchdown underdog in both games. If they could split, you look at the rest of their schedule. They play at the Giants, they play the Bucks, they play the Panthers, they play the Vikings, and they play the Bears.
Ooh.
I was saying if they could get 1-1, they could run the table. They've won both those games.
Wow.
They could run the table. They're on a 3-game winning streak. I was high on Green Bay coming in, right? I picked them to win the North. They're not going to win the North, but I picked them to win the North.
They run the table. They can put themselves in position.
Yeah, but I think Detroit's schedule is like even easier.
Is similar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they have like the game and a half advantage, and they're not playing each other again. They've split that.
Yeah.
But, dude, right now, at this very moment, there's maybe 2 guys playing quarterback better than Jordan Love.
Wow.
I would say it's like Dak and probably Brock Purdy at this very moment. Over the last 3 games, 857 pass yards, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. They're 3-0. It's like he went through the growing pains early in the year, right? Like after week 1, I put up the video like, yo, Green Bay is going to have 3 straight Hall of Fame quarterbacks. It was the hot take episode.
Yeah.
Around like week 7 or 8, people were commenting on that like, yo, bro, this is the worst take. Why is this video still up? Delete it.
Nope.
Now it kind of looks good.
Yeah, well, look.
Now it looks good.
They've had this formula. They've had a formula now for almost 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Brett Favre came in. No one thought Brett Favre was going to be Brett Favre, obviously, but he came in, did his thing for 15 years. In the midst of him doing his thing, they get Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers sits. Aaron Rodgers finally gets his chance to shine, has a struggled first year, Hall of Fame after. You know what I mean? Like there's something to be said about sitting these guys when you have the opportunity. That was the reason why I was so big on Anthony Richardson going to the Raiders. If the Raiders would have traded up for him, because he didn't have to play. You had Jimmy G. It would have freed up Jimmy G to play. You know what I mean? Because like I think that if they would have done that, I think they probably would have been in a better spot. Because who was their first round pick? I don't really even know who their pick was. I don't know that he's been doing things that a top 10 dude should do. But that formula, man, when you can actually get that quarterback in house and really grow him, especially if your coach is in place, man, listen, you'll be fine. LaFleur is a good coach. Everyone that hates on him, he's done well his entire head coaching run.
Bro, and to add to that, I was watching the game in here yesterday with Antoine, who's in the control room right now. He's undefeated in December. He's now 16-0 in December.
LaFleur.
Yeah. And
No.
yeah.
No. Wait, the Lions game was in January last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I know that they lost to the Lions.
So, dude, this is why every year, the last couple of years, and look, last year, everyone that was listening to the show, I said it on here. I bet them around this time to win the Super Bowl and to make like the playoffs, win the conference, win the Super Bowl, because the odds were outrageous. And you looked at the schedule, like, yo, if they could get through that Miami game, remember they played a Miami game on like a Saturday?
Yeah.
And that's when Tua threw the 3 interceptions and like 3 straight drives.
Yeah.
And then when you go back and you watch it, he got concussed in that game.
Yes.
We broke down that video, the jiu-jitsu video, Jerry and I from the gym. We broke that down. One of the hits that he got was in like early second half of that game. And then after that, he threw all those interceptions. And you're looking at the pics, it's like, bro, there's 4 Packer helmets there. Like, what are you doing? And then you're like, yo, bro, he was probably concussed, right? So deja vu, dude. Like, I'm taking some Packer futures. I wish I would have trusted myself prior, because I would have got a crazy number before the Lions and the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, before that Lions game for sure.
before that Lions game for sure. And now look, like I said before, they're at the Giants, home Bucks, at Carolina, at Minnesota, home to Chicago. And right now they're a playoff team. Like right now, if the playoffs ended, they're the 7th seed.
Yeah.
And dude, I think Jordan Love has like figured it out. I think this offense, they've gotten guys healthy. I'm not sure what happened with Watson at the end of that game. It looked like he wanted to stay in bounds and he might have pulled a hamstring. That's going to be something interesting to monitor. They haven't really reported on that at the time that we're recording. It's a team that I think I'm buying into, bro. And I was buying into them about 2 weeks ago, and now I feel even better about them. So I think Green Bay is, right now, Jordan Love is playing unbelievable. And LaFleur in December just hasn't lost.
Well, look, I want to say in the season preview show, I think you took Green Bay as the division winner.
Yeah.
I think you did. So you've always been high on them. I knew that they probably would be. I knew they were ahead of the Bears, and then it was just where the Vikings were going to be.
Right.
And I think the Vikings now, over the course of the season, not having Kirk Cousins is going to show up, and I think that that's going to be their downfall. Yeah. But they could have, they might have messed around and really kind of got back into it themselves too.
Well, I also think like with Green Bay, the thing that's really interesting is that, yeah, I was high on them, but also the way their season has played out is exactly how I thought it was going to play out too, because Jordan Love some weeks looks like he might not get another chance to be a starting quarterback at Green Bay. And now you're looking at it like, holy shit, this guy's unbelievable.
He gets that ball out fast.
And he has a lot of like Rodgers tendencies.
He does.
And that's what happens when you're playing under the greats. You're going to pick that up. Like, it hasn't worked for Zach Wilson, but they also weren't together as much as like he was. Jordan Love was there for 3 years with him.
3 years, bro.
So it goes a long way, man. And I've just been impressed with them. I think their defense is playing really well. I think their skill position players, like they're getting more and more guys. Like the tight end scored yesterday. You got Reed, you got Dobbs, you got Watson. You'll get Aaron Jones back at some point. You got A.J. Dillon, you got a pretty good offensive line. And especially in the NFC, you need to be good in the trenches because you have to go up against San Fran, Dallas, and Philly to get to the Super Bowl. You're going to play one of those teams
or two
at some point. Or two.
Yeah.
Or maybe even all 3 of them.
Yeah, wild card.
Like,
yeah, you might.
As a wild card if you're the 7 seed. So I just think they're playing really well, man, and I like the talent on this team, and it's a team that I'm definitely bullish on.
There it is. There it is.
What else stood out to you in week 13?
Oh, week 13, man. Let me take a quick look.
How can you not mention the guy you picked to be MVP? And I laughed at you.
Well, listen. First off, because that game also comes with some pain.
You got to see it in like.
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't watch. Like you want me to tell you how much of my game I watched? I pulled up to church. Right. I pull up to church. I turn the game on my phone. Depending on how the game is, I might watch it during church. I'm not gonna lie. It'll just be muted. And I pull up to church. Sam Howell pick 6, 17-0. Yeah, I'm not even gonna waste my energy. Like I'm putting my phone on mute. I don't even want to deal with it because I already knew. Like one of my friends is a season ticket holder, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to the game." I'm like, "Bro, why?" And I turned on the game, and it was raining. I was like, "You went to a blowout rain game?" No, I stay home on those. I will not waste my energy. There's only so many FUs I have in my life. I gotta save some.
Yeah, I do feel for Sam Howell. He's getting pressured and hit more than any other quarterback in the league. That's why he's also and that's why he's also turning the ball over too. Look, man, I think the big story is Tyreek Hill, right? And I talked about it. Been talking about it the last couple of weeks, and also with you when we did like the third of the way through recap of the season. You said Tyreek Hill for MVP.
I think I sat over there for that one. I think that was when I was sitting over there.
At the time, I think you might have been here. But at the time, it was a little ridiculous because, yeah, he was playing well, but Tua was also playing really well. Mm-hmm. Now, Tua's had those like multiple interception games. He's played pretty shitty where Tyreek's been fucking amazing this whole season, like start to finish. And the comparison that I gave then, now it's coming into fruition even more. It was similar to Cooper Kupp in 2021.
Yes.
What Tyreek is doing now, it's similar to Cooper Kupp. And Stafford is playing similar to Tua. Like Stafford had a good year. Stafford also had like double-digit interceptions, had like a 4 straight week stretch where he threw a pick 6. I remember because like they were my Super Bowl pick. I had a 15-1 future on the Rams. And that was the comparison. And what Tyreek Hill is doing, I haven't bet Tyreek Hill. Right prior to last week's game, he was 40-1. Now he's 15-1 on wager attack. So the number got halved. I think more and more momentum is going to start happening. But I would like to see a non-quarterback win the MVP because I think right now in 2023 in the NFL, this NFL season, the most valuable player has been a non-quarterback. Game 1 to game 13, it's either been Christian McCaffrey or it's been Tyreek Hill. And yeah, would I want CMC to win it? Of course, because like I bet on CMC to win it. But I haven't bet on Tyreek Hill. I think that's the answer, though. It was the cover of the episode last week. Yeah. It was like the NFL MVP is not a quarterback.
And look, and I don't think it should be. There hasn't been exemplary quarterback play.
And that's the thing, too, right? Like every quarterback has had definitely one, most of them 2, some like 3 shitty games.
Yes.
And shitty games in the sense of like 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Right? Or, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, a turnover, like 180-yard passing day. It hasn't been like a quarterback. And that's why I think this conversation needs to be had about a skill position player because it hasn't happened in a long time. It's never been a wide receiver. Yeah. And dude, like what Tyreek is doing is just wild. He said he wanted to be the first wide receiver to crack 2,000. He's on pace for that.
1481.
And I think now you're going to start getting they force feed him anyway. He gets about like 10.5 targets a game. 10.5 targets a game is what he's averaging.
That's crazy.
Now it's going to be like even more so. Like, let's get him more touchdowns. Let's get him more yards. Let's get him more catches. And I just think start to finish, it was the same take that I had with Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp from week 1 to week 18 was the best player. He had no shitty game. His worst game was like 7 for 77.
Yeah.
Right?
And probably a touchdown or so.
Yeah. And it's like Tyreek's been that guy the whole year.
Yeah. I mean, listen, look, 93 catches already. So we still have 6 games you said? So he already has 93 balls, 12 touchdowns, 1,481 yards. I mean, look, if he gets to 2,000, I don't think you can keep it from him. I'm still upset that Megatron didn't get it the year that he went crazy. But if Tyreek Hill, because he might mess around, I don't know if he's number one in receptions as well. But if he's number one in receptions, number one in yards, he probably might even finish number one in touchdowns. You got to give it to that man, because if you take him off that field for the Dolphins, they're a totally different team. Like the way they exist right now doesn't happen. So, and like you said, Tua has had enough bad games. He's been enough of the reason that they've lost. Tyreek Hill has never been the reason they've lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, him having a bad game is still 80 yards. He's still out there doing his job. So I don't know. We'll see.
Keenan Allen has 102 catches
Okay.
to Tyreek Hill's 93, but he also has about 300 more yards and has 5 more touchdowns than him.
That's crazy.
And also, like, you got to remember, like, Keenan Allen, he has 102 catches for 1,100 yards. It's basically just like check downs or 4 or 5 yard outs.
Yeah.
Where Tyreek is doing it everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and someone asked, I think it was Wes Welker. They asked him, like, who's a better wide receiver, him or Randy Moss? And, like, he said, because he's the wide receiver coach for the Dolphins. That's why
Yes.
like that question was even brought up.
Oh, that's so not okay.
And he's like, yo, Tyreek could run every route in the route tree, where Randy Moss was like the greatest vertical threat. Like, even though Tyreek is faster, like Moss was like a 4.3 guy, and he could, like, it's a term. Like, he created a term. You got Moss, bro.
Yeah.
You say that in any sport where a guy just like suns you, right? It's like, yo, you got Moss.
Mine,
Yeah. So Tyreek is like entering, like, he's won a Super Bowl. He's obviously been paid. He's setting all these records. I always compared him to Steve Smith.
That's
like
a good one.
Steve Smith was undersized, but just yoked.
sturdy. And,
He wasn't as fast as Tyreek Hill,
He was
but
fast,
like
though.
he was a demon.
Yes, he was.
Over the middle, just like anywhere, anytime, any place, like go up and get it, could challenge you. And that's like one thing I feel like Tyreek don't get enough credit for. He goes up and like,
Oh yeah.
50-50 balls, he comes down with them.
No, so Tyreek Hill played in the celebrity game that I helped do last year, Floyd's game for the Pro Bowl. And when I tell you, Tyreek Hill's dunking the ball. Like, he's got he can go up in the elevator and go put the ball down. So like at 5'9", 5'10", maybe with cleats,
Yeah.
he's dunking. Like, he is explosive, completely explosive. So yeah, no, you're right, 100%.
So Tyreek Hill now has 20 touchdowns of at least 60 yards. It's tied for 4th all time, behind Deshaun Jackson, who's the leader at 26,
Jesus.
Jerry Rice at 23, and Devin Hester at 21. It accounts for punt returns
Okay.
also
Okay.
for Devin Hester.
And how many it was 26 for Deshaun?
Yeah,
And then how many for Tyreek?
he's at 20.
Wow.
He
Well,
probably
he's-
breaks that.
Yeah, he's gonna get there.
Yeah.
He's gonna get
No,
there.
we're not saying he's going to break it this year, but
No.
yeah,
He might have another 2 or 3 in him this year though.
wicked, man. So I think that was my biggest takeaway. I think the league MVP this year is Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey. Like, bro, Eagles Niners game, right? Massive L on that. We talk about that with Kenny a little later, but how is Brock Purdy the league MVP favorite right now?
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. Because I'll put it to you like this. I said this on my show earlier today. The pocket that man had was incredible. Like, I mean, listen, like, look, it's so upsetting that fans don't understand what they're really looking at. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, we need to get another receiver. It's like, bro, we have receivers. The reason that Jennings can catch the ball, and it's like, why didn't somebody guard Jennings? These dudes are hard to guard. Corners can only cover so long, but if I'm given 4 to 5 seconds and a clear view of vision over and over again, I'm going to dice you up. That is my job. You know what I'm saying? And if I can't do that, then I'm not good enough to be in this position. But most quarterbacks don't have that, man. Like, that man literally has 4 to 5 seconds. There's nobody giving him any pressure both in the middle or on the outside. That's incredible. It's easy to do your job when everyone else is doing theirs. You know what I mean? But usually on most teams, at least 4 or 5 dudes every play ain't doing their job.
Yeah.
You know what
Well,
I mean?
I don't know if that's fair though. Like, that's not Brock's fault.
No, it's not his fault. He's making the most of his moment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, he does have a lot of help. So
For sure.
Is Christian McCaffrey going to pull some votes from him? He should. Is Debo Samuel, who catches a 15-yard dig and then is able to get in the middle and find a seam and break 3 more tackles all the way to the end zone? That's not Brock Purdy's touchdown. It is on his record.
Right.
But that's Debo Samuel. That wasn't Brock Purdy. You know what I'm saying? Like Debo broke 3 tackles to get into that, get past the safety. Like that's not on the quarterback.
But it goes back to what I talked about this team last year, how they're the most unique and versatile offense I think I've ever seen in football. Because Debo could get handoffs, McCaffrey could get handoffs. They could also run wide receiver routes out of like the X and Y position on the outside. They could line up in the slot.
You can put them anywhere.
And then you got Ayuk, you got Kittle, you got a random like Jennings.
Yeah,
right?
It's, you got everyone covered. There's Jennings.
There's Jennings, right? So I think it's the most versatile and unique offense of all time. And my bad if I didn't mention Kittle.
No, you did.
I did, right?
You said
so
Kittle.
Like, and Kittle now is in that Gronk territory in the sense of they don't got to unleash him all the time.
Nope, you're right. No, you're.
But it's like,
right.
We got the Eagles. Bet. Let's throw some Gronk. Let's throw some Kittle at him. We got the Cowboys. Let's throw some Kittle at him. Where he had like 2 touchdowns against them. It's like, let's save him. Let's keep him healthy.
Yeah.
Let's keep these guys healthy, and then we'll unleash them when the time comes. And that was the biggest like takeaway for me. And then, if you're Philly, dude, the schedule was so wicked. Like just buzzsaw after buzzsaw after buzzsaw. It's Cowboys, it's Bills, it's Chiefs, it's Niners. Now it's Cowboys again. Like this was the part of the schedule where you were looking at it from the beginning of the year. It's like that 5-game stretch is going to say a lot about this team.
Yeah.
And look, right now they're 3-1 in that stretch. So they're still fine. Like any Eagles fan will be like, if we could leave 500 in that, cool. And that's what they're going to be. Like even if they lose to Dallas this week, they'll still be 3-2 in that 5-week stretch where it was wicked. I'm not worried about Philly. I think Philly's still fine. I think everything Debo, Samuel, and all these guys were saying in the offseason was true, though. Like, bro, you guys are happy you beat us. Yeah, but it's because Brock went down. Like, shit would have been different. Yeah. And it's hard to not justify that after what we saw.
It definitely wouldn't have been the game that we saw. Now, would that
Well, we never know. We never know, though, because like to push back a little bit, this is Brock now year 2 as a starter.
Yes.
Not as a starter, but it's like his 2nd year in the league.
Him as the guy.
Him as the guy. He's played now close to give or take like 20 games.
Like he's played a full season.
Yeah.
He's played about a full season.
Yeah. And the last thing now, because I still feel like Philly's a really hard place to go in and play and win.
Yes.
I think San Fran will be like, all right, bro, we got to go back to Philly. We'll be fine. We went in there and won.
Yeah.
We beat them already. It's not as intimidating as it was before.
Yeah.
It's like when teams first went into Green Bay and like they would win in Green Bay in December. It's like, all right, bro, we'll come back in the snow. It's all good, right? The Giants, little bit of a different example because the Giants ended up losing that game anyway. But if you listen to the 07 Super Bowl team, they're like, when we played them in the last game of the regular season, and we had nothing to play for because we were the 5 seed no matter what, but they had a chance to go undefeated. So to them, it mattered.
Like, you're talking about the Patriots. That's the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm talking
not
about
Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Patriots Giants, like how the Giants got confident in that game.
Yes.
Where the Giants had nothing to play for. They were a 5 seed anyway. And then New England had everything to play for. And the Giants are like, bro, they put all hands on deck. All the chips were in so they could get that win to go undefeated.
Yes.
And we didn't even care if we won. And they beat us by a field goal. So then when they played them in the Super Bowl, they're like, bet, y'all ain't shit.
We gonna be here.
Now we're gonna play our game because it matters.
Yes.
It didn't matter 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
So again, different example because the Giants didn't win that game. But when you see that opponent and you play them and you say to yourself, like, you're not as intimidating, bro.
Yes.
Like, how many times do you see fighters avoid that one dude? Like, that's the boogeyman.
Yeah.
We don't want the smoke. And then Chimaev, for example. Nobody wanted to fight Chimaev. And then Gilbert Burns fought him. And he beats Gilbert Burns. But he took a round off him. He dropped him.
Yeah.
Kind of exposed some flaws.
Holes, yeah.
Like, hey, man, take him into deep waters. Take him past the 7-minute round, 7-minute mark. He's going to be a little tired. And then you were like, I'll fight Chimaev. It's like, yo, where were you 6 months ago? Oh, because you didn't get to see how they could be exposed.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey, same thing. No one wanted to fight Ronda.
The second
then-
she got
The
exposed.
second she got exposed, everybody's lining up to fight Ronda. So I think there's a lot of parallels to that when you're looking at it from like a football standpoint. And even, dude, I wish I was doing a podcast then. But like going back to 2007, remember when the We Believe Warriors beat the Mavericks
Yes.
and Dirk was MVP?
Yes.
Was it 07 or 06?
That was 07.
07,
That was
right?
07. Yeah. Yeah.
Mavs won like 60 games or close to
No,
it.
they
were
won
the
like
one seed.
65.
67.
Yeah, they yes, I think they did win 67.
Yeah, and
they
then-
were unbeatable.
And then, yo, what happened that year? Warriors beat them 3 out of 4 times.
Oof.
And then they beat them as an 8 seed. The We Believe Warriors, Baron Davis and those guys, right?
Yeah, that
But
Baron
again,
Davis
it's because they weren't as intimidated when they played them when it mattered most. And that's what I think, to bring this back to where we're at now. I think San Fran is looking at it like, all right, we might have to go back to Philly, because Philly's still the number 1 seed if things
Yeah.
end it right now.
Yeah.
So I think once you like put a bent in that armor of theirs, that invincibility, you're like,
Yeah.
it's not as intimidating, bro.
Well, I think for me, this is what I'll say. Philly hadn't played a full game almost all season. Like a full game. Like last year, Philly was dominating teams. And so my pushback on Philly last year was, what are they going to do when they're actually in a dogfight? And that's what happened in the Super Bowl. They finally saw a dogfight and they started to wilt a little bit. You know what I mean? This year, they haven't put a full 60 minutes together.
Do you think they wilted though, bro? I don't think so.
Well,
I just think Mahomes is just like,
not that they wilted. Maybe not wilted, but they definitely did. Like, I could see that they were a little bit more nervous. There was some tension. There was some nervousness in there because it wasn't like, oh, they're just gonna lay down for us like everyone else has.
But that's what happens when you play a team that's been there, done that.
Yeah.
So yeah, to your point, you're
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
But this year, man, they've had, like, listen, my team had them on the ropes twice. We took them to overtime once. We were a blown Terry McLaurin, catch on the sideline call from winning that game, and they beat us. They beat us in the second game. AJ Brown loses his mind. My rookie isn't ready, but like they've had a lot of games where it's like they have to just, okay, let's put the cape on. But when you're playing a better team, if you're playing a team like the 49ers, or I won't say Dallas because we know Dallas is Jekyll and Hyde, but like say they had to play the Bills or say they had to play the Ravens and they gift these teams 10, 15 points, those teams aren't relinquishing that lead because they have enough that they can just say, okay, well, we can keep changing how we're going to play this game. I mean, I don't think that they're going to implode. I was on my show, I was talking about whether they're going to implode or kind of galvanize. I think that they still get to where they need to be, but I think that they could mess around and lose that number 1 seed because they've got 2 losses now, right?
It's up for grabs now. They play Dallas. I think it's for first place for the division. So then in theory, it's for because Dallas is 9-3 also.
Are they?
Yeah.
I didn't realize they had only 3 losses. I feel like they had more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be telling. Like I'm already looking at the 3.5 for the Eagles because you're a good team that just lost. Bounce back the next week. It's kind of a spot that I always take.
Yeah.
It was a spot that I took last week with the Eagles also, and it didn't come into fruition. But it's just one of those situations where I got to bet. I want to push back a little bit on the Washington. I hear what you're saying, but I think Washington's a bad example because you guys always play them tough. Like those are games that I think are anomalies. Like however the Eagles and Washington Commander games go down, it's like you can kind of throw it out the window because they're in division. They always seem to have your number, right? Like the Eagles always beat the Giants, but Washington always beats the Eagles.
Or
Like
at least gives them a fight.
Yeah, it gives them a fight. So that's why I think that's a bad example. But the concept behind it, I think, was fair. I just think that Philly, dude, I wish my team played shitty games and was 10-2. Like, why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, but it is a concerning thing, I'd say, to the end goal. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not a bad, like, listen, both of us would take 10-2 right now.
Yeah,
especially the way it's looking. Exactly like when people talk about the brotherly shove, like I hate on it, but when it comes down to it, if I had the monumental move, I'd be like, first down.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I get it, but
would you rather
Oh, would I rather?
Yeah, would you rather your team be like Philly, who barely, some games they don't play their A game, they sneak by, but they get the W. But they were also doing that against juggernauts like the Cowboys and the Bills and the Chiefs. Or would you rather be someone like Miami, who once again beats the shit out of a shitty team, Josh's team? But
Strays.
it's like, what would you prefer? Because then when Miami plays someone good, they get their shit punched in. So what's your answer to that?
Well, okay. I mean, listen, I'd rather
know my team could play someone good and win.
Yeah.
Don't need to look great.
Well, but look, they didn't look great against the Patriots. They beat the Patriots by 5. They didn't look great against the Vikings. Remember, they had all those interceptions. They beat the Vikings by 6. They beat.
That was a weird game though. The Vikings game, I remember, was a Thursday Night Football. They were up like 28-7, and then Minnesota kind of went on this run. But
remember, Minnesota had like 7 turnovers and barely lost. You know what I'm saying? Like to get 7 turnovers and you win the game by one score,
okay.
you're not really beating anybody. But then they struggled a little bit with the Rams. They beat the Rams, but they did struggle. They lose to the Jets. They beat the Dolphins. That's one where it's like, okay, that they beat the Dolphins by 2 touchdowns. They beat the Commanders by 7. They beat the Cowboys by 5. They barely beat the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? The Chiefs had their chances to win the game, but they didn't. They still won. And that's a Super Bowl rematch. And then, you have to fight to come back against the Bills. Like, to your point, I would rather be a team that I know can go and win those games, but that's not a formula that I would want to see. You know what I mean? Give me a team that if we're blowing people out, we're blowing people out, but at least on this side, you know that you can win tight games. Last year, they didn't know they could win tight games. So this year, they do know they can win tight games, but you can't keep putting yourself behind the 8 ball against good teams. I guess that's my biggest pushback against Philly this year.
No, it's a fair assessment. I'd just rather my team be able to be successful against good teams.
Good teams, yeah.
Because then I know when they do play a good team in the playoffs,
they're not going to buckle.
Yeah, I'd much rather that. That's why I think there's a lot of uncertainty with Miami.
Yes,
right now, they're
for sure.
the 1 seed. I think there's a lot of uncertainty with a team like Detroit.
For sure.
Right?
Never been there.
Yeah, never been there. And also, like this year, they just haven't had any good wins. They haven't had a win against a legitimate opponent. Yo, the Dallas Cowboys, too. You know how we feel about the Cowboys. We talk about this all the time. Like, I think the Seahawks win was really impressive because Seattle they're scrappy, they're rugged. Pete Carroll's going to have them well coached. They're going to be in a good position. Both of them were coming off the same amount of rest. Like, even though it was a Thursday night game, they both played on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And Dallas had to fight back because Dallas was down in that game too.
Yeah.
And you know what, man? I think that was a really good win if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan and supporter, because it showed you that they could play a good team and come back and win. Look, Seattle is still in the playoff hunt. Even though I think they're a team whose stock is going down, and then another team in that division whose stock is going up. I think it's the Rams, bro. The Rams are going to be a tough out.
Yeah.
If the Rams make the playoffs, they're going to be a tough out because they have a legitimate quarterback. They got some weapons now. Puka's going crazy. You obviously know about Cooper Kupp. Williams, the running back, all of a sudden is going to win a lot of people money in fantasy because he was not on the roster a month ago, and now he's putting up 100 yards and a touchdown every week.
Yeah.
There's always a guy in fantasy. That's why, like, my fantasy strategy has always been like, yo, wait on running back. I'd rather take receivers now. I'd rather take receivers now because it's harder for you to find a Justin Jefferson than it is to find a replacement at running back.
Yeah.
So, and it happens every year, bro. Like, guys just come out of the woodwork off the couch and they're putting up 100-yard games and touchdowns.
Catch a couple holes.
Yeah, and they're just like going crazy. So, and this offense is going to be intimidating. Like, the offensive line is playing a lot better. They've had a lot of turnover. It's something we've been talking about the Rams all year.
Yeah.
You can still get a plus number on them to make the playoffs, around like plus 120-ish. Schedule's, a little up and down depending on how you feel on the other teams. Remember, this is objective, and their defense is making plays. And you got McVay pulling the strings, right? The boy genius.
Good coaching.
And
Oh, we've mentioned multiple coaches that walked out of my facility.
Oh, bro.
This
Talk about like
look, listen, not Josh McDaniels, excuse me. The coach in Florida, in Miami,
yeah.
Redskins, LaFleur,
McDaniel, LaFleur,
Redskins,
Shanahan, McVay.
Shanahan,
all in the
McVay,
building.
all in the building.
And all were like, I'm not gonna coach here.
Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yo, shout out to Jay Gruden. Does not get the credit he deserves for having all those guys under him.
Yeah. Jay, and then also Mike Shanahan.
Right.
Because a couple of them that were there were Mike Shanahan, and then when Mike left, Jay kept McVay, kept Kevin O'Connell, kept those guys. All those guys, man, listen.
It's always great whenever the Commanders play one of those head coaches, they show that graphic.
That's not great at all.
It's it's not great for you. It's great for me though, as someone that likes to laugh at people's misery when it comes to their sports fandom. The New England Patriots, full tank season.
Yes.
Hey. 30-1 to have the worst record in the league. All of you watching said, "Oh, bro, it's Belichick, dude. He's not gonna have a losing season." Hope y'all listened.
Apparently, you did not.
Yo, bro, he's not even naming the starter anymore. It's just like we're not sure. Like, it might be Zappy, it might be Mac Jones. Mac Jones Sosa incomplete. See. You getting pulled. Like they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. And especially once like Christian Gonzalez went down and then Judon went down in like respective weeks. This team is in full tank mode. Shout out to Kyle Long and Chris Long. They're part of the Blue Wire Network on their pod. They were like, Bill Belichick got to see his quarterback in person. Maybe he goes and coaches the Chargers next year.
Wow.
Right? Swan song. Got Justin Herbert.
And this is kind of my one thing about that.
The defense is awful with the Chargers. They got some big name pieces on there.
Yeah, the Chargers
Belichick is a defensive mind.
Defense should not be bad at all.
Yeah.
But I guess my thing is this. Patriot fans, calm down. Patriot Nation, calm down. You guys had 20 years of greatness. Remember, Mac Jones made the playoffs his first year. So they've had 3 bad years. 3. And it's like the sky is falling. Bro, relax. Relax. You know what I mean? Like, do not push Belichick out. Now, if Belichick wants to retire, for real retire, then you allow him to do that. But to push him out after year after year after year of winning, like all the hysteria in Boston is like, bro, relax. Welcome back to what real fanhood feels like, because they don't know what it looks like anymore. They've had nothing but greatness. When you can just expect to make the Super Bowl or at least a Super Bowl run every year, dog. Remember, even when Brady went down with the ACL, they won 11 games. Yeah. Like, do you understand how good they've been?
I've talked about this, how I have zero sympathy for people that are my age, you know, 32 to 35 that live in Boston. You've won a lot of championships. This is what real football is like.
This
we
is what it's like.
About it. However, I do want to say that, and we'll wrap with this before we have Kenny join us. What is the grace period for a head coach or a quarterback or a GM before you're like, yo, bro, this ain't it no more?
When they're not the greatest coach of all time?
I'm asking.
Well, no, listen.
But yo, bro,
3 years. 3 years. I give you 2 or 3, depending on if you've lost the locker room or anything like that.
The Patriots have not been good for about 5 years. Even the last year with Brady, they like got into the playoffs and then they lost to the Titans, and I was all over that. Talked about this last couple of weeks. Like, he hasn't been good since like 2019.
And the year before that, last year you mentioned, what did they do?
They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, look.
So then from 2019, 2020, the COVID year with like Cam Newton, and then Mac Jones, you make the playoffs. But again, like, I thought that was a Band-Aid on how shitty the team was built. And then what happened in that playoff game? The sportsbooks gave us -3 Buffalo.
Yeah.
And they won by 30. Yeah. So how good was that team, right? And then the year after, and then now. So
listen,
I don't know what the answer is. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I don't know what the answer is, but I think at some point it's like, hey man, we don't want to fire you because you've done everything you've done, but
Yeah.
it might have to be one of those like you're gonna agree to step down, but you're really gonna be fired.
I'll say this: Robert Kraft has made billions of dollars off the back of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick stays as long as he wants. That's my feeling.
I don't know, bro.
Look, I mean, I know it's a business. I get
But what
all
if you
that.
lost your touch?
Oh, well, look, if he's lost his touch, he's lost his touch. But at the same time, his quarterback situation has been god awful. So
A lot of that goes to him though.
Well, but just like the rest of us that haven't had quarterbacks, we know what this looks like. This is what life in the NFL looks like when your quarterback is trash. It is what it is. So to act like, he didn't have the GOAT leaves, the GOAT goes win another title himself. But at the same time, like, bro, like he had a franchise quarterback that stayed healthy. Like Tom Brady didn't miss games unless he was suspended for 20 years. You know what I mean? So yeah, for me, I look, I don't feel any sympathy. I say relax simply because you've had so much greatness. You can have a bad 10-year stretch and still be fine. You can be as frustrated as you want to be, but yeah, that's just me.
Dude, let's show love to a division that if you would have told me, bro, that 2, maybe 3 teams were going to make the playoffs from a division in the AFC, I never would have picked the South.
Yes.
And right now,
yes,
at the moment, they have the Jaguars and the Colts as playoff teams, with Houston having a 7-5 record also, basically like on the playoff verge.
Yeah, they're if the playoffs start today, Houston's in the playoffs.
They are not, no, because they're the 8th seed. Right now, if the playoffs started, it's Miami as the 1 seed, Baltimore 2 seed, Jaguars 3 seed, Chiefs as a 4 seed, Steelers, Cleveland, and the Colts. I think, and
the Colts have it, right?
right, the Colts have it right now. But I think you could eliminate the Browns because now Joe Flacco is playing quarterback for them. And the team is really good. Defense is amazing. But eventually you're going to need a quarterback. So I'm taking them out. And who knows what happens with Kenny Pickett and the Steelers, because I thought that was a bad loss yesterday. But
yeah,
kind of, dude, a 90-minute delay in total.
Oh, I didn't see that.
game.
What happened?
It was like lightning and like a tornado watch or some like terrible weather.
Yeah,
on the forecast.
90-minute weather delay.
Well, it was, they had 2 of them. They had like a 30-minute and then they had like a 45-minute, it was something wicked. Like the game ended around like halftime of the afternoon slate.
Yeah. I was wondering why that game was still going.
Yeah, it was still going.
I just thought it was something weird.
And look, Pickett got hurt. I saw that he had ankle surgery. I don't know if that, like, I would assume that surgery is like he's out. I know he's not playing Thursday. I don't know if he comes back. The schedule is pretty favorable because, like, they still have the Bengals on the schedule. Like, their schedule is pretty favorable. But, dude, in the event that, like, Pickett is out and then obviously the Browns regressing because they don't have the quarterback, you might have Houston and the Colts in the playoffs. And, like, Houston yesterday, they won a big game over Denver, who's also fighting for a playoff spot. I think the AFC is exactly what we thought it was going to be, just that the teams are different.
Yeah.
Like no one saw the Colts. No one saw the Texans.
No
one saw some people saw the Browns, depending on like what Watson was going to do.
Yeah.
How he was going to shape up. But look, man, there's a lot of teams that are still not out of it. And I think it's going to be super compelling down the stretch. We got like 5 games left for every team. But shout out to the AFC South.
Very exciting. Everybody but the Titans?
Yeah.
We're just not remembering the Titans this year. That's what it is.
Nah, we're not. We're just not. D-Hop yelling at Will Levis, like, yo, what do you want him to do, bro? He's a rook.
Yeah, that situation is bad. But look, what have you done? You've thrown 2 high draft picks at a quarterback. Did you get it right either time? It's that quarterback, man. If you don't have him, it's gonna be you have to build an identity, and Tennessee has had it, but now with Henry starting to grind down, now we need a quarterback again. And if you don't have one, man, like it's not a fair game. It just isn't. And most teams don't. There's only a few of those dudes out there.
Yeah. It's hard, bro. It's hard to find a quarterback.
Yes,
Have you noticed that like a lot of the attention on like Caleb Williams has kind of gone down a little bit.
Yeah. I still think he's better than May.
Yeah, but it's just not. He's not that all-worldly, holy
Yes.
shit prospect he was a month ago.
Yeah. But you still, if you're Caleb Williams, you still got to come out because you're top 5.
I want to ask you something about college football.
Yeah.
A few things, right? How do you feel about guys missing, electing to sit out bowl games? Because he said he's not going to play in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Like the Holiday Bowl or some shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, look, they've put in the work, right? You know, Caleb Williams has played in bowl games. He's played in 2. So he's put his time in, and if he's going to come out, he has nothing left to prove. Like, my stock's not going to go up or down by playing in some JV bowl game. Now, if this was, you know, the national championship or one of those,
He's not sitting out.
He's not sitting those out because those still have the ability to write my story different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you just gonna play in a bowl game, like I'm in the Topeka Bowl, no, I'm not playing because it does nothing for me. You know what I mean? It might help the team, but you know, what was that? Remember the Titans again? No, screw the team. Like, I'm gonna get mine.
I mean, bro, I'm glad you said it because, like, there's not much to add to that because I was going to say if I'm playing in the Miller Lite Bowl, sorry, I'm going to sit out if I know I'm going to be an NFL player.
Yes,
Now,
top 5.
If I'm in the college football playoff and then the national championship, I'm not sitting out. And I don't think any of these guys would sit out. But the reason why you see now, don't you feel like bowl games have been hampered a little bit because of the college football playoff? Because I feel like now if you're not in, like, dude, if you're a Georgia player,
Yeah.
how do you get excited now to go play, like, I don't know, Penn State?
Yeah, in whatever highest
Yeah,
level
it's
bowl
not-
that
it's
there
not
is
the-
outside of that.
It's not the Final Four.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, how do you get excited for that? So you saw, like, McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette. You've seen some receivers in the past, like high-end wide receivers, just be like, yo, bro, I'm not playing.
Yeah, it's
Right? Like if Marvin Harrison was like, yo, bro, I'm not going to play in this, Marvin Harrison Jr., like, yeah, bro, don't play in it.
No.
If it's a national championship, sure. But I just think, like, for me, if I had a friend in college football that was, like, going to be a high draft pick or even whatever, bro, even if you're, like, a third-round pick, like, dude, don't play in that shit.
It's not.
Why are you going to play in that?
It's not worth it. It's not
not.
worth it. To piggyback on Marvin Harrison, think of it this way: Marvin Harrison's top 5 as well, and for him to go pull a hamstring, doesn't even have to be anything catastrophic, but to pull a hamstring now, when I go to run the 40, 2 months later, I'm still not 100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now, he ran a 4.5. We thought he was more in the 4.39 range, and that messes with your money.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Dude, we saw Tavon Austin be a first-round pick because he ran like a 4.2.
Yeah. Jesus. Tavon, way to. Well, Darius Haywood-Ray,
Yeah.
4.25 or something. First round out of obscurity
Yeah,
at
like
Maryland.
7th.
Yeah.
The 7th overall pick.
Yeah, with the Raiders.
Out the league after 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Are you upset with you're more of a college football savant than I am. Are you upset with, like, what happened? A lot of outrage over Florida State not getting in?
It's no outrage. Is it fair? No. Is it business? Yes. 1,000% it's business because with Travis going down, especially with it being catastrophic, breaking his leg, we're not gonna put Florida State in to get crucified by Michigan and have a walkover game in a game where we have billions of dollars riding on it. We're gonna, of course, put Alabama in. Now, do I think that Georgia should have went from 1 riding a 29-game winning streak from 1 to 6? No, that's stupidity. If anything, Georgia should have went from 1 to 4. Truthfully, for me, because we didn't lose to Texas, Alabama did. So that one I still have a little bit of beef with, but look, I'm excited for it to be 12 teams next year. That's going to really start to open some things up. I was talking earlier about, all the other bowls that now in a rotation, now everybody gets a chance to have the national championship game and, all that. I think that's going to be cool. I think Vegas, we might slide into that slot and that rotation now as well to get national championship games, which would be cool. So we'll see.
Every major sporting event should be in Vegas.
I don't know if I'd go that deep, but we have a lot. We have a lot. And now we've learned how to handle it.
The coolest city in the world. Super Bowl's coming here. Formula One was just here.
Super Bowl's coming.
They're gonna put Copa America in North America. That's gonna have some games.
Yeah.
They
we'll
should have it
here.
in Vegas. That'd be lit. No World Cup games here though.
The stadium, when it was being designed, they didn't get in front of the committee in time. But look, we got a Final Four coming. We have Super Bowl coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, look.
You bring dope shit to dope cities, bro.
Well, I'll say
I'm not
this.
gonna let you slander my town.
Well, I'll say this. Well, you claiming it over New York, Jesus. But
Listen,
I will say this.
It's lit.
Since 2007, when we had the NBA All-Star Weekend, I'll say that this town has learned how to handle major sporting events.
Yeah.
And then also now, listen, the Fountain Blue's opening up. We're about to have so many more rooms. I mean, it's definitely going to make accompanying these big events easier because we've got so many rooms now.
Hell yeah.
So that's good.
It's lit. Super lit. Josh, before I do this ad read and then we bring on Kenny, since you're not going to be a part of that conversation, only because we recorded it and also because you showed up late. So
I was late again.
Let the people know where they can find you.
Josh Williams, the American Fan 365. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Spotify, everywhere. The American Fan 365. We got some interviews, and then we give daily sports news. So we try to mix it up. Might be having Mr. Boogie Cousins on this coming week. So that's gonna be a good one. I actually literally have to text him once I get out of here.
That's dope.
Yeah, so it's growing.
Boogie Cousins was a part of the only professional sports team I've ever seen be a negative favorite to win a title. Like usually when he was on that Golden State team.
Oh,
when he
yes,
had Durant
yes.
also.
Yes.
Usually when you're betting a future, you'll always get a plus number. Like even the favorite will be like plus
150,
300.
yeah,
right?
or whatever.
They were minus 150.
Yeah.
And they won the ring.
Did they win?
Yeah, 2018.
Boogie didn't win a ring.
Boogie didn't win a ring?
No. I think Boogie came the year that KD tore his Achilles.
Oh,
He
so
was
it was
a
the
year late.
It was the year before then.
He was
so
a year
Boogie was
late.
not on that team. I
Yeah,
think
he was a year late.
Okay.
He was a year late.
But they were also a minus favorite that year.
They
too.
probably were.
Yeah.
I'm not debating.
Yeah.
That. Yeah. He was. He never won because remember he went from there and then went to the Lakers. I think the year after they won in the bubble, or was it? I don't know. He never won.
Always got there late.
Yeah, I don't think he's won.
Alrighty, let's do an ad read before we bring in Kenny. Listeners, do you ever feel the urge to break away and discover the world with a like-minded tribe? Let me introduce you to Fly Me Out. Fly Me Out is the premier social travel club. Imagine if LinkedIn, Airbnb, and Raya had a travel-loving baby. Whether you're looking to network with professionals on a beach or bond with creatives in the heart of a city, Fly Me Out has got you covered. Dive into curated experiences, and with their platform, it's never been easier to find your tribe and see the globe. Don't just travel, make memories with Fly Me Out. Go and download the app. Use the code VM1 for expedited application review. And we thank Fly Me Out for being a sponsor of this show. Now joining us is my dog, KBB, Kenny Bets Big. The what could have been year. That's what we're gonna call this first circa entry that we did together, bro.
Yeah, I mean that pretty much sums it up, perfectly. Perfectly. We'll never forget the Miami Dolphins. Right? I think every week we talk about them.
Yeah.
They cover.
Yep.
When we put them in, they don't.
Yep.
It's kind of like one of those bets, right? Where it's like a long shot bet. You send it to your boys. If you put it in, that shit ain't hitting. If you don't put it in, you're sitting at home watching the ticket cash with ease and just sitting there like feeling like an idiot. That's kind of how we feel all circa contest.
Bro, yeah, we picked the wrong time to suffer a 1-4 week. The Packers came home for us. We like the Packers on. I think Packers might have been mentioned on the Monday on the Monday beforehand when we were recording. That was a pretty cool spot. They ended up winning outright. We took the Broncos plus 3.5, took the Eagles plus 3, Jets plus 2, Titans plus 1. They lost in overtime. And then, of course, the Packers plus 5.5 in the contest. They won outright. And, boy, did we get fried in the comments of that one video, bro.
Dude, my phone is still going crazy. Like, my phone hasn't stopped since that since that, like, you know, halftime of that game yesterday. My phone hasn't stopped lighting up with comments like clowns, idiots,
Yeah.
take the mics away.
Yeah, that's always how it goes, right? That's always how it goes. You knew that was, I mean, bro, that was a pretty polarizing game because I knew a lot of pros that were on San Fran. I knew a lot of pros that were on the Eagles. And look, we look, to give ourselves some credit, even though we were on Philly, we did mention a couple things in like the storyline going into that game, how all the Niner players were talking shit. Hey man, if we had Brock, shit would have been different. And then all the Eagles players were saying it wouldn't have mattered. And then we saw that it mattered. Purdy throws 4 touchdowns, has over 300 yards. He looked cool, calm, and collected, though he didn't the first 2-3 drives of that game. I was feeling pretty good about it. But again, when you play these good teams, bro, you can't settle for field goals like what Philly did. Imagine if Philly goes and scores 2 touchdowns. It's 14-0 as opposed to 6-0. It's a whole different ball game, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, you know?
Yeah, I you know, and again, easier said now in hindsight. But yeah, when I saw that they settled for the 2 field goals, I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
I even
Same.
said to myself, I should bet the Niners right now. But I've been riding the Eagles. I've been riding the Eagles all the way going back to last year. Like, I know I faded them in the Super Bowl, but you know, I've been betting them pretty frequently last year. This year I cashed out on them against the Chiefs, the Bills. So I just felt like, you know, +3, win or lose, man, I was cool with the spot. And, you know, unfortunately the Niners, they were playing really good football, right? Like, they're playing their style of football, hitting their stride. All the guys are kind of healthy right now at the same time. And Eagles a little banged up, you know, coming off some tough games back to back to back. And the Niners got them, you know, is what it is. But you know what I love about the comments though, Nick, is that, like, I think they must think that you and I are Eagles fans.
Oh, dude, those are my favorite. Those are my favorite. When people are like, yo, your team, bro, your team. It's like, no, they're our team this week because we're talking about them and we're betting on them. Those are always good. But dude, you got to also mention, like, we were big on Philly against Miami also. Mm-hmm. Like, we've been pretty spot on like, Philly's been good to us, right? Philly was good to us in the playoffs last year. Like, it's fine. Look, they didn't get home for us, but you're right. It was a concern. Like, their gauntlet was crazy. Cowboys, Chiefs, Niners. They got Dallas coming up this week also. It's, you know, Buffalo. I forgot to mention the Buffalo game too. And it's like you're playing basically playoff atmosphere, playoff type games, all consecutive. And it was bound to be a letdown spot. But I don't want to call it a letdown spot, honestly. I think San Fran just went in there. They were locked in. Debo scores 3 touchdowns. And he was talking the most shit out of all the players, right? He's calling Bradbury trash. He called Slay trash. He called the secondary trash. And then you saw him go bananas for three touchdowns. And look, man, they put their money where their mouth is. And Debo and Trent Williams, they're undefeated this year, 9-0 when they're in the lineup. When they're not in the lineup, that's when they suffer their losses. And we've said that Brock and this offense needs everybody to be available in order for them to be successful. And as long as they stay healthy, bro, they're going to be, right now, they're the Super Bowl favorite per wager attack. So that's what they're telling you about the Niners.
Yeah, which I think even last week, even though you and I were both on the Eagles, we both said we liked the Niners for the Super Bowl, right? Like, Niners, Ravens was one thing I think we both were talking about. Tough game for the Eagles because I think that did you know, it's one game. You never want to get too caught up over just one outcome, right? Be prisoner of the moment. But when you saw the way that they manhandled the Eagles, I don't see much changing in the playoffs. Like, if they were to line up, right? I think the Niners would take that game, even if it's in Philly. Because yesterday the weather in Philly, it was rainy, it was cold here. I was thinking like, dude, this is a perfect setup for the Eagles to defend home field, and that did not go anyway you and I thought it was going to go. And I knew, man, once that reel started taking off and getting over 20,000 views and all the comments, I knew, man, it was just like, of course, this is going to be the one where we're fucking wrong on.
I think I'm pulling up our conversation, bro, and it was something along the lines of, "Yo, this is either gonna end up great or horrible." Hope it's an exact repeat of last year's game. The trolls are very angry with us on the Eagles take.
Yeah, they and one thing I was surprised by for how like diehard Eagles fans are, right? And I was a little surprised at the lack of support from the Eagles fans in the comments.
Yeah, like where you at, Philly faithful? We got an Eagles fan back there in the control room too. My guy Isaiah, he didn't
soft ass Eagles fan back there.
They didn't like hold us down, bro. But dude, to your point about the Niners, they're gonna be like, bro, we'll go back to Philly. We went there and it was inclement weather and we beat them. We dominated them. And it's awfully reminiscent of like when you see these teams match up in regular seasons and it is a hostile environment or it is a really good team and then you play them in the playoffs, you're like, bro, we just did that. A couple weeks ago we did that. Like now Brock could go in there and be like, oh, bro, this ain't shit. Like, it's fine. It's not as intimidating of a venue as we thought it was going to be heading into this game.
No, yeah, for sure. Definitely a huge mental, block that they got over for sure. And, it's more than likely we'll probably see these two teams line them up again in the playoffs. One thing I want to ask you, are you a little shocked at all that Brock Purdy's the MVP favorite now?
Shocked is an understatement. I don't think he's the most valuable player on his team, let alone the league.
Yeah, right. I mean, I saw that. I woke up this morning and I saw Brock Purdy now the MVP favorite. I mean, I I got Lamar, so I may be biased, but Lamar I think is looked better this year. He doesn't have nearly the weapons that Brock Purdy has. And if you're just talking about like numbers and how they're kind of propelling their team, I don't know how Brock Purdy's ahead of Dak Prescott.
I got the list right here in front of me. The NFL MVP odds per wager attack. I'm charging my laptop. That's why I don't have my laptop with me. The favorite is Brock Purdy plus 250. Jalen Hurts also tied at plus 250. So you got co-favorites there. You got Dak at plus 350. Tua at plus 550. Lamar and Patrick Mahomes at plus 750. And then you got two skill position players at 15-1. CMC and Tyreek Hill, who I think both of them are more valuable to their team than their quarterbacks are, especially this year. And, dude, I talked about it last week. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. Obviously, everyone knows that I bet on CMC. I haven't bet on Tyreek Hill. I think this year's MVP is not a quarterback. I think it's one of them two.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, like, let's, call a spade, dude. Tyreek Hill looks like the best football player in the league, and it's not even close, right? I was watching them play on Sunday, and I was thinking, like, dude, can you imagine he was still on the Chiefs, bro?
Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine, dude?
All of the Chiefs fans wish that was the case also.
Bro, if you... Because I think Cheetah has gotten a lot better since his days on the Chiefs, right? I think he's become a little more mature, a little more well-rounded of a receiver. And I also think Mahomes that year, obviously having to let him go, I think Mahomes kind of elevated his game a little bit too. Yeah, dude, if you put Tyreek Hill back on that Chiefs team, dude, I don't think, obviously it's football, it's NFL, anything happens any given Sunday. But, dude, they would be a very scary team because, dude, the Chiefs, if not for all the drops that they've had, probably undefeated this year.
Yeah, the wide receivers have killed them. But you know what? I have no sympathy for them because as Josh just walked in, he's probably out in the lobby right now. I had a bunch of people try to convince me that fucking Kadarius Toney being a wide receiver one was going to be like a thing. Like, oh, yeah, they're going to be fine at wide receiver. It's like, no, bro, they're not going to be fine. You know how I know that? Because I saw him on my team. He'll pull a hamstring, and then you're seeing like MVS and Rice he's been pretty solid. But again,
he's been good.
He's been really good, but again, man, Kelsey, if Kelsey's not running wild, this offense is having trouble moving the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see, man, because right now they're the 4 seed. They're the 4 seed right now if things ended. And Kansas City, they've had the luxury of every conference championship game being in KC. And look, there's still like 5 games to go, and everyone pretty much has a rough schedule in the AFC. Not rough, but like
how does the playoff picture shake out right now?
so
One
right,
is Ravens.
one right now is Miami.
Okay.
Then you have, this is prior to the Monday Night Football game. You have the Ravens, the Jaguars, the Chiefs. You got the Colts, Steelers, and the Browns are still holding on. So those are your playoff seeds right now. And then you got like the Texans, you got the Broncos, you got a bunch of other teams like that.
Yeah, the the Jags are interesting, especially if they can get home field, right? You know, playing in Florida is never easy, humid, hot. But dude, the AFC, I mean, obviously the Chiefs with Mahomes, but when you're naming those teams, I think the path is pretty clear for the Ravens, dude.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Ravens' path is pretty clear. And dude, this is gonna sound so ridiculous because all I've done is trash them for 6 months. Why does Buffalo's futures give me a little stimulation?
Like futures for this year?
Yeah.
I was thinking that before the Eagles game.
Yeah.
You know, I was liking Buffalo, and then I don't know. There's just something about it. Josh Allen, just I can't. I have been a very big guy against Josh Allen for the last few years. Everyone thought I was crazy. You know, when he was kind of put in the same category as Mahomes and Burrow, but he's come back down to earth. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about the Bills, man. I just can't get behind them. Then now I think they're probably going to lose Von Miller. Yeah, if the Bills versus the Chiefs or Bills versus the Ravens, dude, I'm fading the Bills every time there. But what's the price? I mean,
so they're 28 to 1 to win the AFC. They're 55 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. And
that's crazy.
It's crazy because they're coming off the bye week and they got Kansas City this week, home Dallas, at the Chargers, home Patriots, at Miami to end the year, which who knows what Miami is going to have done by then. But there's a reason why those numbers are what they are. But, dude, I also think on the flip side, man, they make the 7 seed, right? And let's say Miami gets the 1 seed, right? Let's just say everything ends the way it is right now. Buffalo gets in as a 7 seed. First round matchup, they play the Jaguars.
Yeah, I don't think they beat the Jaguars, bro.
All right, but I think they have. Just
be honest with you, dude.
No, I want you to be honest. But here's what I'm saying, right? They're the 7 seed. They play the Jaguars in round 1. Much rather play them than play.
It's a winnable game.
It's a winnable game, right? And then from there, you're going to play the 1 seed, the Miami Dolphins, who you know inside out. You match up well with them. Winnable game also. And then your last game will probably be Kansas City or Baltimore. So I don't know. I just think the path jumped out to me, dude. The numbers jumped out.
No, it's definitely interesting.
If Josh Allen could get hot, why not? A nice 25 piece, nothing too crazy. I think it's definitely intriguing, bro.
Here's what I'll say. The one thing I think we can both agree that, you know, as good as the Browns defense has looked this year, at 7-5 on the cusp of being out of the playoff race. Same thing with the Steelers, 7-5, right? Like both of those teams, I think, are very more than capable of losing a few games here and bumping themselves out of the race here.
I mean, bro, the way, like with the injuries at quarterbacks and some of these teams, I just think that like 9-8 could maybe get you a playoff berth. And right now,
the Steelers have an easy schedule. Pats, who you know how I feel about the Pats, I think they're tanking. So
yeah,
you got to fade the Pats every game this year.
Yeah.
At the Colts, right? That could go either way. Bengals, Seahawks, Ravens. So I think they lose to the Seahawks, lose to the Ravens, and maybe they'll go 1-2 on the other. So, you know, 1-4, let's say 2-3 maybe. So yeah, they'd be like 9-8, 8-9.
Yeah, and they get the Chiefs this week as it segues into our Monday winners for week 14. They got the Chiefs coming off a loss. They're at home. They're under a field goal. We always talk about like situational betting. They're 2.5-point favorites right now. Isn't this like an auto play on Mahomes and the Chiefs, Kenny?
Yeah, I mean, again, from a sharp standpoint, I think you're right with the Bills here. I think the Bills are the sharp play there, right? Like if from a professional bet.
Right.
But I have zero interest in fading Mahomes coming off the loss on Sunday night.
Yeah, coming off the loss, we've said he's around like 80% against the number when he's coming off a loss and it's under a field goal. It's like, bro, there's an auto play every single time. And we had a situation earlier this year where we took that. And when they went to Germany, we were all over that game under a field goal going up against Miami. So that one kind of jumped out to me. If we go with the talk of the town theory, and shout out to some of the members of the Discord, they're like Seahawks plus 11, gotta be a Monday winner. The only concern that I have is that the Niners just absolutely blow the doors off them every single time that they've played the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I want to get on that side of the trend, because also Kyle Shanahan, up until Brock Purdy got hurt, they had covered like 17 straight games against the spread at home. So that's a team that when they play at home, they cover and they take care of business, whether it's in division or non-division opponents. So I don't know about Seattle plus 11. And the other one, dude, I know I've been rambling and giving you all the Monday winners that I like.
No, I like to hear them, though. Keep them coming.
I feel like we got to go with Philly, no?
Yeah, I was just looking at that, dude. 3.5, bro.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that that's what that line is. Shocked.
So here's one thing we've always talked about in the past, right? Teams that lose marquee games that we perceive to be good teams, contenders, championship teams, take them the next week. It's in division. I know they have the win over the Cowboys. I think this is a 3-point game either way. So I'm going to jump over the plus 3.5 with Philly, man. And they're going to get us right, bro. Last week they got us wrong. They're going to get us right this week.
Bro, I mean, the 3.5 for sure.
Yeah.
Fuck the 3.5, dude. I think they win the game. I think the Eagles just win the game. You know, again, this could age very badly, but the Cowboys can't do what the 49ers just did, right? Like the style of play, how they play, the way that they can beat you is just the 49ers are, you know, they got Trent Williams, they got Debo, they got weapons all over the fucking field. The Cowboys are not going to be able to line up and just punch the Eagles right in the mouth like that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think San Fran is definitely a way better and more complete team. And I don't think
like they can be physical and beat you.
Right. Yeah. Dallas, I don't think they're as physical. They can't run the ball away.
Dallas more like a finesse team, right? Like they throw the ball all over. Like Dak's playing good. He looks good right now. I'm with you there. I like the Eagles for sure. I really like the Panthers this week at the Saints. I wrote down some stats because one thing that the trolls were saying in the comments is like, dude, these guys are just talking. They're not even backing up their points. But you know, that's the beauty of this podcast is it's not the typical talking heads up here just dropping stats and knowledge trying to sound smart when they're not actually smart. So but I prepared a couple stats for the viewers here. So
let's hear
all
it.
right, Dennis Allen, right? Since he's coached the Saints, 5-16-1 against the spread as a favorite. He's never been favored by more than 6. The Saints are 6.5-point favorites right now. Derek Carr as a starter, 18-37-1. That's 33% against the spread. Against the spread. He's lost 15 of his last 24 games outright. Jameis Winston, 8-18-1 against the spread, 2-9 against the spread, a favorite of 3 or more. So like Dennis Allen as a favorite is historically one of the worst coaches to bet on. And then you look at the fact that they played the Panthers back in week 2, Bryce Young's second game, they beat him by 3 points. Yeah. I know the Panthers haven't looked great. they look pretty fucking bad.
Hey, they did cover last week, bro. They did cover last week.
Yeah, they did.
And we talked about it. Dude, again, the story of this year, bro, has been us spotlighting the games we want to take, and then we don't take them. And I was like, yo, coach just got fired, right? Like, there's a crazy trend. I think it's like 6 straight games that team has covered. And they covered. It was in Division
That's one of my
2.
favorite betting angles.
Yeah. Yeah. And guess who didn't take it?
Because everyone
Us
thinks
two
the
idiots.
perception. Yeah, because everyone thinks, the perception is when they fire the coach, like, shit's falling apart. Let's fade that team.
Nah, that
But
team gets
usually what they do
excited.
is they kind of rally around each
Yeah.
other and they play very well. So yeah, that's one of like the most profitable betting spots I like to do. Another one is teams coming off of a 3 possession loss or more. You bet them the next week, which the Eagles coming off of a more than 3 possession loss. So I love that spot for them as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to do an Eagles-Panthers parlay. You could tease them, do a teaser, 17. Bro, Eagles plus 10.5. You shitting me, dude? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
But
that.
that's the lock right there now. You tease the Eagles in a 7-point teaser with the Panthers. Panthers plus 13.5, Eagles plus 10.5. You parlay the spreads, 6.5 and 3.5, and then you parlay the money lines. And dude, thank me. The Patreon members will be very fucking happy next week when we go 3-0.
I want to co-sign that, and I'm gonna co-sign that.
Stamp it.
Let's do it. Kenny, this was I like that the spirits are up, the energy is up, even though we got absolutely stretched out in week number 13. It was rough, but listen, this is why you play the game, man. You're gonna be right, you're gonna be wrong.
Stretch.
You gotta take it on the chin and move on. Damn, that flowed a little bit too. Been chilling with
Yeah,
Cameron Mays.
dude.
He
You've
might
been hanging
start
out with
rapping.
Cam too much, man. Watching too many freestyles.
Hey, Kenny, before we let you go, bro, let the people know where they can find you.
At Kenny Bets Big, social media, Instagram, all the main shit. Find me there, DM me, talk to me. I'm in need of some friends after last night. The Eagles did me dirty. Nick left me on the bridge, ready to jump, wasn't answering. It would have been nice to have someone to talk to yesterday.
Listen, man, I kind of lay low on Sundays, and I had some company, so I was a little distracted. I'll leave it at
Just
that.
kidding, dude.
So,
You think I want to fucking talk to your ass, bro, when I'm losing money? Fuck no, dude.
my dog. All right, bro. We'll catch you next week.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.